Welcome to the third episode of the AgriAlly podcast, in an authentic conversation with Iris Rosculet, a remarkable woman and an already seasoned farmer at the amazing age of 19. She's managing 9 expansive tomato greenhouses with a sturdy hand and a heart full of passion. Her journey is not just about cultivating crops, it's also about nurturing a vision for a sustainable and thriving future. Iris and I met at an industry event, but we instantly connected based on our shared passion for land and for welcoming more and more people in agriculture, especially the youth. Iris is balancing her agricultural responsibilities with her academic pursuits as a first-year student at the Faculty of Veterinary Medicine in Bucharest, Romania. In my raw conversation with Iris, we're going to cover her story, which is truly an inspiration, seeing how passion, focus, and noble purpose can be funneled towards seeing sustainable agriculture practices and lasting impact within the community. She's a firm believer that community involvement, experimentation, and farming technology and processes will help overcome many of the challenges that agriculture is facing nowadays, from uncontrollable weather patterns all the way to the lack of labor that everybody struggles with. She confronts these obstacles with a blend of youthful optimism and a practical and innovative wisdom. Her project Serele Dulci, Sweet Greenhouses, is more than a business venture. It's a mission to inspire, educate, and include young people, as well as adults, about the beauty and importance of vegetable growing. Our profound belief in planting the seeds of trees whose shade we might never enjoy contributes toward paving the way for future generations. I see her as a true role model for girls and women in agriculture, as well as for students who want to join an industry aiming to feed the world, to deepen roots, and leave a lasting legacy and impact.
Life on a farm. Awesome. Well, you want to start? Sweet. Well, thank you for having me in your farm today. It's so beautiful, and we have
My pleasure.
we have our third podcast.
It's our guest.
Guest. So I love
to
how
say.
I love the life on a farm is so beautiful, like cats and dogs, and this is what I grew up with. So I can't. I fell in love with this, and every time I come to a place like this, I'm just
Peace. It's peace.
peace. It's like the weight of the world is off my shoulders, and it's like now is the perfect moment. So thank you so much for having me here today, and thank you for being such a wonderful host.
Our pleasure. She's the wonderful host, not me.
Thank you, and I know that I would like to let our audience know that we actually, this is the second time that we've seen each other, and gotta say that I'm in total awe and respect and admiration for your energy and your curiosity, your desire and thirst to improve, to innovate, and to find new ways of seeing the processes on a farm. And I know that people usually say that it's easy for the younger generations now to take over their parents' farms, but I think from what I've seen so far, you are approaching this in a totally different way. So I would like to hear more about that.
Well, I feel the same way about you. Although we met like 2 weeks ago,
Yeah.
something like that. I think that the younger generation is open-minded because they don't know a lot of things and they don't calculate all the risks. So the main reason I believe that they are open to new experiences. As I told you before, that's why I'm open to new experience because I don't know a lot of things, but I want to learn them. I can't learn all of it today, so it will take time. But definitely my perspective it's different from my mom's or my dad's or anyone's because I really want to improve my farm and to create a closed circuit. I want to let all the people know all the process that there are made in the farm because a lot of children these days don't know why a tomato can be I don't know, yellow or
So
orange.
cool.
And they need to know that we don't just paint them over. They are that way.
Absolutely.
I want to learn the younger generation.
Oh, that's so amazing. I know that I was so super passionate about the Japanese culture. They teach their children in school how about their food and how to cook some small things or easy things to cook, and how to um, have food discipline and respect for the food. And I think this is amazing.
I think here in Romania, the teachers are trying to do that, but the problem is that some of the teachers don't know exactly what they're teaching because they didn't have maybe that they grew up in a city. They didn't have a rural side of the rural. Am zis bine?
Yeah.
So they don't know exactly what will take a tomato to be in the shelter of a store.
Yep. It's what I'm hearing you say is that it matters a lot to have that yes, and to have that experience in the ground, on the ground there in the farm.
Not necessarily an experience, but just to see.
Yeah, just to witness it.
You don't have to do it. You just have to see it.
Yeah.
So you know that they all exist. They're all true.
Yeah, I think that's amazing. And what I loved most about my during my educational years was the practical part, and when they would take us to, I don't know, I think I only went once, not to a greenhouse or something like that. It was just once, but it stayed with me because I was there.
That one time was made like a trip, a fun trip.
Yes.
It wasn't necessarily educational. I mean, it was educational because it was with a school, but I don't know, in the normal hours, like from Monday to Friday, when the children go to school, they can have a day or an hour a day where they can go to the nearest farm or shelter, because dogs and cats are a problem too. And we don't teach our children to love animals, and that's a problem. We don't teach our children to love animals or vegetables or their food, mostly.
Life in general.
So yeah, and they don't know what to do with it because they don't have the ability to learn it themselves. Like they will learn that when they will be 18, 20, and I don't know if that's good for an adult in the future.
Well, I remember, I can only speak about my experience, that growing up on a farm was one of the most beautiful things I can remember. Like being there among in the cornfield. I once stepped on a hedgehog, and I was running barefoot. Don't ask. In the cornfield. So that experience is irreplaceable. I think that provides a different way for children to think.
Yes, because they can feel things. They can feel a plant or the ground or I don't know, touch the water that will go to the tomatoes after that.
Absolutely.
Because right now all they're feeling it's a smartphone or something like that. And yeah, they can see and read stuff there, but they can't feel it. They don't have feelings anymore, and that scares me. I'm afraid of the younger generation. Micro farms that are accessible to anyone are starting to get lower and lower, and I think that they will disappear in a few years.
What do you mean by micro farms?
I don't know, the grandparent backyards.
Okay, yeah.
Where you can see a tomato,
onions and stuff like that. Yeah.
A chick. You can see a chick there.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love that.
Yeah, but actually now the grandparents tend to be people that don't have that backyard anymore. So the nephews or the children can't watch and feel what they should have.
Yeah, it was part of the movement from the rural area to the urban areas, because most people went to the city, now they would like to go back to living on a farm because they realized how amazing it was.
The city has its benefits, of course, but we can do in rural spaces as much as we can do in the city.
Absolutely.
Only that we have the freedom.
Yes.
No, even when you get in the car, you have freedom.
There's also the idea of having a little bit of land, which is for me the most amazing thing you could possibly have, where you can feel the ground, you can feel the grass and the plants, and as you said, it allows your brain to just change its chemistry and change its neural pathways.
I don't know, somehow it was balanced with rural because the grandparents had a backyard or something.
Yeah, because they knew that they were in charge of ensuring their livelihood and to actually enjoy doing it. It provides a lot of discipline, I think. Like waking up at 5, 6 in the morning, it's not about the 5 a.m. club. People were doing it before it was cool, and and actually worked in their own backyard in their gardens. And I think that's what allowed our grandparents to live as long as they did, because they had those activities and kept them engaged.
Yeah, because they had the possibility to, they themselves loved the ground, and they've also learned their children and their nephews and all that came after them to have love for ground.
Yeah,
that's what I want to do now. I want to learn the children to have love for ground, because not everyone has the possibility to go to a backyard.
Yeah, that's true. I love it.
That's the title for this part, the backyard.
Yeah, I mean, as you're saying, like you want to teach kids how to be in connection with the ground. That is also, that leads to legacy. It's what the seeds you're planting now for future generations. You're teaching this generation, and it will propagate. It will take this forward to everybody else.
That's what I'm fighting for.
And I love this. This is one of the reasons I wanted us to do this, and we're doing this in your farm. Like, there are birds everywhere. I'm not even sure that our voices are any louder than the birds, which is great. I'm loving that. And I think this is the pillar for anything that happens, not just in agriculture, but we're in this industry, we're in this segment. I think it's one of the most focused things that society can do right now to plant the seeds for future generations.
It depends on what everyone understands about the seed, because they think that they can have a seed saved for the next generation by buying an apartment or something. I don't know. And I don't think, okay, the apartment is good, it's very good, but you have to leave something that will put the younger generation in contact with the old one.
Absolutely.
And some furniture won't do it.
What we do for ourselves dies with us. What we do for others remains and is immortal. What else do you need more than this phrase? That it takes a village to raise a child and a community to build something that will last. So again, through the podcast, through the initiative, I'm aiming for people of all ages that are much more connected to agriculture than they realize, and to connect them with people like you.
I really love what you're doing.
I'm really hoping that through conversations like this, we can bring together people who are passionate like you are, that you're already doing these, you have already started, with people who maybe have given up, or maybe they don't know where to start. So this is kind of an inflection point, like a point where things can be catalyzed, can be changed, and can be done differently to bring more people together and in this industry.
Yeah, I'm sure if somebody needed a spark, like who was alone and he said, oh God, I want to give up. If I should give up, if I shouldn't give up, please show me a cat. And there were many cats in the beginning of, well, there's no cat now, so don't give up.
I'm absolutely in awe about this. And one of the things that I wanted to approach today is exactly the idea of challenges and hurdles that you have to go over. And sure know that there have been,
Of course,
those kind of things in
my journey until now.
In the younger generation, in every young generation's journey, as well as in any starting out in any industry, in any profession. I think it's a learning curve. Though in agriculture, being so complex, I think the challenges are very particular. What are the main things that you can think about and you can share with us right now about this, about your experience so far?
Obviously, any beginning is hard, but the beginnings in agriculture are a bit harder than the rest of them. First of all, you don't, even if you want to do a lot of things, you will have a big problem in finding somebody to help you. And when I say help, I don't mean it in a friendly way. I mean, you don't have employees. They're very hard to find in this industry because, as I said, they didn't have the love for the land. And now they came to me because they want to work, and they are 36, 37, 40 years old. They don't know some things, and I'm open to learn them. But when they realize that it's quite hard, I lost all the hours that I invested in learning them. And they go back to working in a shop or something like that that doesn't have anything to do. And that's especially because they don't have the love for the ground. And why am I saying that? Because my two most important employees are two women that are almost 80 years old, and they've learned me how to love the land with my mom. They've learned my mom how to love the land in a way that she didn't know at that time.
You said that they were, there was like this mutual learning environment, which is great, between generations, like 80 years old and
50 my mom and 18 me at that time. So that created some sort of friendship between us. And obviously we respect each other because that's something that you cannot live without in this industry. Like, respect is it's totally necessary. But the thing that we somehow managed to create a friendship has helped us all over the years, because there will be challenges. There will be moments when someone will say that I can do this no longer, and you will need them, and you need to learn how to not let them go. And the younger generation is not as open as the old one to friendships like this.
Yeah, well, I think it's part of the idea of not necessarily consumerism or capitalism, but the idea of fast-moving goods and fast-moving content and attention spans being shorter and shorter, and there's less patience because nature requires patience. You can't rush nature.
Yeah, no. And all the things that we do in our farm, all the process that we need to work at, require a lot of patience. And it's difficult for me because I don't know how to approach the younger generation. Because let's say that I pay them by hour of work, and if 40 minutes out of 60 we can stay outside and smoke and do small talks, that will be perfect for them. But that will not help me very much because it will be a great loss. And if I want to stimulate them and to pay them by the things that they do, I don't know, let's say
Yield. You mean by yield, by the production?
by production.
Okay.
That's not good either, because as I said, every process needs patience, and that will kill every small amount of patience that they have because they want to earn more. So
I mean, I can see what you're saying. I think I noticed this when there was a conversation with regarding the marketplace, where they have where producers sell their fresh vegetables and fruit, and that it was a comparison with the supermarkets or the large retailers, and they were saying that the retailers have a lower tolerance for phytotoxicity, for example, and presence of chemicals in the produce, whereas the producers, the small producers,
don't have it.
They don't have that. They don't even measure it.
It's
so
safer to buy anything in a large store, because I have a contract with large stores, and they test our food and our soil, our water, everything. They test everything. We can't do something that's wrong.
Yeah.
So for you as a customer, it's safer to go to a big store than to a local store. That depends. I do support local producers, but they need to be careful at what they're doing.
And in times like these, where the conditions make you either speed things up or make it look like look better, or be delivered faster, that's or be
about the money,
stored faster or better.
It's all about the money.
Well, yeah.
That's not wrong, because everyone needs money, but agriculture for me means more than money, because it involves the love for the land.
While we're on the topic of love for the land, can you tell me what practices you're applying in terms of sustainability and soil regeneration or soil conservation?
So every year, for example, although we are producers of tomatoes mostly, we do have salad, because it releases some compounds into the soil, and that helps the soil. And starting from 2024, because of the climate change and everything, we wanted to replace the shading nets to grapes. We planted grapes on each side of
this greenhouse.
Of the greenhouse, exactly. So that they will somehow
form a canopy
for the culture that we have inside it.
Oh,
and that
amazing.
Will create an ecosystem somehow. Well, we don't know how that's going to work out, so it's a test. We did this only in 2 of our 9 greenhouses. So we wanted to see how this will work out. But this to me is very good, because the costs of planting grapes are somehow in the like they are twice as lower than the shading nets.
Wow. And not to mention, like,
they can bring profit into, they're natural. They can bring profit into your farm. They have only benefits.
Absolutely. I can see how that can turn out. I mean, you're basically shading the crop with another crop. So it's like 2 in 1. That sounds amazing.
That's the thing that we tend to do.
And I really appreciate that you're actually experimenting with this this is what I meant, that I'm excited to see more and more people. Of course, I undoubtedly know people who have been experimenting in their farms, in their crops. Of course, otherwise, where would the world be? But I'm excited to see that you're doing this and you're very open and excited about this.
Yeah, well, I see everything as a lesson. So if it won't work, it wasn't that much of a waste of money. So we waste money on all things. Why not waste money on your farm?
Well, I don't think it's a waste. It's like an actually valuable lesson.
Thing in your thinking somehow. In your thinking, in your perspective.
I love this investment in your thinking. This is gold. I love this. It's like buying a book.
You need to see the full part of the glass always.
Absolutely. And it's like you don't know the exact ending. And that's the exciting part of it. And especially when you can't control nature, and people have tried, that's like,
yeah, well, in a greenhouse, you can control a bit of the nature for your plants.
Yeah, you can guide it. You can actually sort of sway with it, though you can't stop it or make it do whatever you want. No. And I think you can just kind of dance with it, sort of. It's like a partnership.
Yes. It's a dance. That's a nice way to say it.
I mean, it's like it's really a dance, a partnership, I think.
Dance.
So when you're talking about this this experiment in the greenhouse and all your work there, what have you been dealing with so far in terms of infrastructure, in terms of support that you received from organizations, from other farmers?
So I had an exchange of experiences with another farmer because they tried to do something similar, only that they use hybrids, and I use the original variety of the grapes. And with the finances, the state has not helped me in this, but I won a contest in 2023, so not a few years ago, 1 year ago. And the money that I received there, I used on the new experiment.
I love this. See, like if there ever was proof that seed money helps, this is it. Like that was a starter for your experiments now.
And it's a really small amount. Like if many others would be open to do this, I think that will be really far in a few years.
You mean more organizations or more venture funds, for example, who would contribute to this funding?
And more organizations and more farmers that will be open to experience in their farm.
Yeah, it's what I've noticed in the past few years, and the discussions naturally brought this topic to the surface about labor, so about continuation. So beyond legacy, of course, because whatever we do now, it's here. It will be seen. The effects will be seen years and years, decades after we're gone. What I've seen in the past few years, rising to the surface, has been the topic of continuation, considering the aging population and the decreasing number of people that are involved in agriculture. The decreasing, but hopefully we're going to fix that. Interest in agriculture for laborers to be drawn to this industry and to work to have more numbers. And I think this is one of the aspects that is very important. You said funding, and to show that this industry can attract people to it, its potential to bring people together, to create more and more interest. And farmers, I think, are the main player that will get people to this. It's like Cristiano Ronaldo fans, Messi fans, drawing people in to see the games, right?
Something like that. Only not all farmers get to play their role because agriculture is hard. But for me personally, if something is not hard, then it cannot be beautiful. And maybe it can be beautiful, but it cannot be as beautiful as something that was hard. There are chemicals in our brain that are involved into this. Like the dopamine will be pumping and pumping when you do something that's hard and you make it work.
Absolutely.
So if you work in agriculture, you will have a great amount of dopamine.
Absolutely. And it's so amazing. It's so rewarding. And not just
that's
it's
the word,
actually
rewarding.
something that it's not that can become steady.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like, I don't know, social media giving you spikes. It's something that is actually, it becomes a constant because of the fact that it's so complex, that it challenges the human brain.
And you can see it laying there right in front of you. So I believe that the farmers should have the initiative to bring people into their farms and to show them that, okay, it's hard, but it's beautiful. Because most of them, they don't have an open day at their farms. Open gates day?
Yeah,
like something. You just get the door, leave the door open for everyone that wants to come and to see, because it's not something private what you're doing there.
Yeah.
You need to learn, you need to teach them to,
and to show them. Absolutely. You were saying that earlier, and talk about transparency and traceability, because these are words, and sustainability, these are words that everybody is using. And what you're saying is, get from talking about it to actually doing that, to open their gates to people, and people can come and actually see what farm work is about. Sure, it is hard, but it doesn't have to be, because I'm guessing when you have division of labor and you have more people that can help you with that, the difficulty is, and the weight on your shoulders, on every person's shoulders, is distributed.
Yeah, that's true. As we were talking before starting to record this, here in Romania, at least, we don't have Harvest Day. And that's really bad, because the farmers do celebrate that they had a good year and all the things, but they celebrate to themselves.
Oh, yeah.
And if they would be open to celebrate with the whole wide world, I think that will be very good for them and for the world, because they will be seen, I don't know, somehow like teachers, and they will be respected.
And people will see the literal fruits of their labor. That's amazing.
So the Harvest Day is something that should be really necessary.
And
here.
What would you have in mind about this? How would you go about such a Harvest Day?
Well, I would want to do a space where people could come and choose what vegetables they would want to go home with, and they will have a place to cook them.
Oh, nice.
They can do whatever they want. I don't know. They can do ketchup, or in the summer with the tomatoes. They can do whatever they want, and they will have the freedom of coming into my farm and choosing what tomato they want to use in their ketchup, and then just go ahead and do the ketchup here.
Yeah, and also sampling the product before they put it there, and you would help them with everything, because I understand that you were you had this created this jam from tomatoes.
Yes, I do tomato jam. It's hard to make. It's hard to make because the tomato jam is made from cherry tomatoes, and we don't chop them. We just boil them whole. And after we boil them with sugar and a lot of spices, we just take every tomato and peel it off. So you have to take 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 of cherries and just peel them off. So it will take a lot of time. But afterwards, when you look at the little jar of tomato jam, it's
Really rewarding.
beautiful. Yeah, it's rewarding. So that's what I think that the people will feel when they will come to my farm and cook their own tomato jam or whatever they want to have.
Yeah. They have in many cultures you have zakuska or lutenica in Bulgarian, and they're really accessible here in the farm. And I love how you're involving the community like this, because food is a love language.
Of course.
And we all know food. We all eat, of course. And the fact that you thought to involve people like this, I think it's absolutely beautiful. And I think in my view, it's inspiring.
Well, we can't live alone.
Yep.
And if we live alone, then we won't be totally fulfilled or something.
Yeah, well, it is part of the human nature to feel to have a sense of belonging and contribution. I think this is one very essential aspect to our.
Somebody needs to bring people together, and I don't mind being that person.
I love that. I love it so much. And with this, I thank you so much, because it's your spirit that is doing this propagation of, I don't know, of curiosity, of openness. Like, you're opening the doors to your farms literally and figuratively, so people can come and see and actually experience their connection with nature. And I love that. And I know that nature is something that we are all ideally interact with. What is your experience with the technology that you use on your farm?
Well, with the producers of vegetables, we don't really use that much of the technology as in big cultures, because the robots for us were not yet invented. So we do need to have a lot of people that will come and work in our farms. But right now, I don't have my farm getting as high technology as I would like it to, but I will do that in time. Mostly right now, we really count on our employees and ourselves, obviously, because we work with them.
Yeah, I get that. When you were showing me your greenhouse earlier, you showed me it's not a sprinkler, it's a sprayer. The one you mentioned that it can replace the manual spraying.
It's a misting device or mechanism. It's something that we implanted in our farm a few years ago, and obviously our farm needs to be invested in, because that's mandatory. So we'll do that in time.
Yeah, I mean,
I will do that in time.
I really appreciate all the efforts that you've shown me that you're intending to invest in this, because it seems like you're very dedicated toward not just innovating in your farm, also involving people in this innovation, and also investing in technology and innovation, and considering how the kind of resources that you have at your disposal, the know-how, the energy, the time, and everybody knows what the times are that we live in. So I think it's quite impressive seeing all the aspects that you are actually considering. So it's an entire process, and it's an entire ecosystem that you are considering, that you are managing already.
It would have been much easier to just sell it all to a big producer and a big market. But that's my legacy, and I want to keep it going.
Yeah, and I'm entirely excited that you said this, because I'm happy. I know we've just met recently, but I'm really happy that you chose to keep going, because I'm hoping this is going to be an inspiration for women and youth throughout the world to keep on going with these efforts in spite of how hard and all the challenges and all the patience that is needed. So I think from me, you have all the respect and admiration for keeping this going.
I don't want to use something like us women, but us women have another another way of looking at things than men do, because we have I don't know, we can be mothers, so we're born with that instinct. So when we have a business in our hands, yes, obviously we do have the business side, but we're also somehow, somewhere deep inside us, the mothers of the business. Yes. So we will take care of it in a much different way than a man would. And sometimes that's good and sometimes that's not, because we can tend to be too emotionally involved sometimes. But in time, you will learn to not be that emotionally involved.
Well, I think when you're dealing with agriculture, with farming, with especially if there are animals involved, it's like you got to be psycho not to be emotionally involved, whether you're a man or woman or a goat. So, that's true, and it's one of the reasons for which this initiative was born, because this perspective needs to exist and needs to be seen out there, not as a way to be against another one, but to actually complement all the other ones that are existing. So again, I would love to thank you for your time today and for providing myself and everybody else listening to this with this perspective of yours, and the inspiration. For me, I know is always an inspiration to speak with you. So thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Thank you for listening and for your support in amplifying women's voices in agriculture STEM. Reach out and join us if you want to create ripples of impact and contribute to a lasting legacy in this industry.